Hello everyone. I hope you all
Hello.
are doing great. Okay, so before taking off with our today's webinar, I would like to thank all of you who have taken out the time to attend this webinar. I'll make sure that this turns out to be interesting and informative for all of you. Okay, so I just have one request, that is, kindly do not consider this webinar only as an educational session, but also take it as an opportunity to get to know some fun facts and knowledgeable things about a gorgeous country that is rich in its culture and is most romantic with its language, that is France. Okay, so I will be sharing my screen. Kindly let me know if you all can see it. Okay, is it visible?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Alright, so it's written Bonjour à tous, bienvenue au webinaire en français par Purnima. So it means hello to everyone, welcome to the French webinar by Purnima. Okay, so there used to be a time when we all were kids, and there used to be that one guy who had a great knowledge of English language in our locality. Remember the amount of importance that person was given that time, the endless respect and praise that he or she got over just the language. Well, those days are gone now. In today's world, majority of us carry a very good knowledge and command over the English language. So what's next? Having command over another foreign language always goes in hand. Now that we have hundreds of institutions providing facilities to learn various languages and get certified, it might become a hassle for you to choose like which language you like the most or are willing to learn with a limited expenditure of your time and money. Before moving ahead, now you all must be thinking that we all have a good knowledge, like we all have good qualifications and we are well versed in English, then why there is any even point of learning any other language? Okay, so I'll give you the answer for that. So, in the first place, the important outcome of knowing a foreign language is it improves the functionality of our brain. And by that, I mean that after knowing a foreign language, you become better at multitasking. You also develop a logical approach towards different circumstances and situations. It also increases our thinking ability, that the amount of focus and thought processing we put into any kind of work or project. It also makes us a better decision makers, as we are able to think in a wider perspective, and it also enables us to conclude with the better decisions. Like if I talk about myself, usually like earlier, if I talk about my childhood, I was very introvert kind of a person. But when I started learning different languages, I was able to like see the changes in myself, because I was not only learning the language, but I was also getting to know about the different culture and the people, about the people. So in some or the other way, I was actually grooming myself, and I was able to just build up myself and just to become an open minded person. Personality development. So, apart from the functionality of the brain, another important thing that plays a major role in everyone's life is, of course, an appealing and confident personality. And I don't think that I have to tell you about the amount of confidence we carry in ourselves when we have a good knowledge over a particular topic or a series of work. Okay, so the third benefit of learning a foreign language is the amount of global exposure one gets and the opportunity of exercising your designated skill set. Now, with this, I mean when we start working, whenever we get a job, so that time we have one question and nobody gives the answer to us for that thing. Like since our childhood, we are always told that please learn this, learn that, score good marks, it will help you in your future in the career. So we just learn English, Hindi, maths, SST, science and everything. But when we start working, we actually realize use तो हम कहीं पे कर ही नहीं रहे हैं इन सबको. So we always have this question in our mind, and why we actually had to spend 15 to 16 years of our life just to learn this, which we are not even using anywhere. But if I talk about a language, if you're giving time, if you're giving your time to learn a language, and if you're looking for a job on the basis of your qualification related to a language, then you're actually exercising it. You will be using it whenever you're working. Like, for example, if I am a French trainer and I will be looking for a job in a French field, so I will be speaking also French. So, in any which ways, whatever I have learned, I am utilizing it as well. Everyone desires for a lucrative salary and different options of work to choose from. A foreign language serves you with all these benefits in a single platter. Now, we have seen that why should we learn a language, but at this time, another question that needs to be settled is that why should we learn French? Like, when there are tons of other languages to choose from, then why French? Why not any other language? So, a language that can be learned quickly without having to spend extra hours in clearing the basics, the answer, of course, is French. I'm saying this because you must have heard people saying that French is somewhat related to Hindi and English. And we Indians are well versed in Hindi as well as in English nowadays, so it is the most easiest language to be learned by all Indians. Okay, so the very first and probably the best reason to learn this language is it is widely spoken and language of international prominence. With over 30 French speaking countries, it is a language spoken by about 300 million, both native and non native speakers. It is also the official language used by 29 countries of the world. I repeat, 29 countries of the world, cutting across 5 continents. Like, we know Hindi, but Hindi is the mother tongue only of India. You will not see people speaking Hindi in any other country. But this is the official language of 29 countries. Just imagine, by learning just one language, you get to open door either to study or to work in any of these 29 countries. And we all shall agree that the more options we have, the easier it gets to pick one. This language is spoken by an estimated 120 million people in Africa, spread across 24 francophone African countries. And right now, I'm not talking about Europe, because whenever we think about Europe, we know that people speak French in the whole Europe. But over here, I'm talking about Africa. Even in Africa, more than 120 million people speak French. Okay, so now in this picture you can see the whole France. This picture is depicting the whole France, starting from the famous food items to what it is famous for. Like, there is a cheese, there is wine, croissant, French bread that is known as baguette. Then you can also see a man with a hat and umbrella. So this is depicting the fashion. And you can also see there is a bicycle which is depicting the festival or the event, very famous event that they usually celebrated as a festival, Tour de France. And on the left top corner you will see a map. Now, why there is a map? If you see the shape of this map, it is hexagon in shape. That's why France, the other name of France is also hexagon. France is also known as lexagon. Lexagon means hexagon. And how can we just ignore this picture in front of us, the Eiffel Tower? Okay, as a cherry on the cake, all these benefits of being a fluent French speaker were made more concrete when Mr. Emmanuel Macron, he is the president of France, where he visited India on, I guess, 10th of March 2018, before COVID, and he met our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, and they had a conversation over the Indo-French matters and the future of both the countries working alongside. So, in the detailed meeting with our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, they agreed on different business practices and travel related proposals. As a result, over 50 more French speaking French companies ignited their operations in India, adding to the list of almost 600 French companies that already exist in India. Yes, there are already 600 companies that are related to France that are already there in India, and they have decided to come up with 50 more companies. Okay, so and in this picture you can also see one thing. It's written on 1st of May the agreement between France and India for the mutual recognition of academic qualification came into force. So So by this I mean that after this meeting they have also come up with the scholarship programs for the Indian students. So the French government offers scholarships worth rupees 1 million euro or 10 crore rupees to Indian students. Yes, it is true. So the French government, the government of France is offering for 10 crore rupees to Indian students as a scholarship. More than 500 scholarships are awarded every year, and I'm talking about only Indian students. France is already giving scholarship to more than 500 students, Indian students every year. And I'm not talking only about a specific field or any specific subject, but they are providing scholarships at every level. If we talk about bachelor's or master's or PhD level, so you will be getting scholarship at every level on the basis of your academic excellence, on the basis of your marks you will be getting the scholarship. But the only thing is that your age should be less than 30 years. So the scholarship that France government is providing to us, the name of that scholarship, that certificate is Boursier du Gouvernement Français. After getting that certificate, you are eligible to just apply and get the admission in any of the colleges of France. Okay, so now the second thing is it is an inspiring language for job opportunities. If you are seriously considering the international job market, adding French to your English speaking abilities will definitely boost your chance of getting a lucrative job. Most companies operating in aeronautics, automotive, banking and finance, hotel management, international trade, journalism and media, education, luxury goods, retailing sectors, these sectors depend French as a prerequisite for the recruitment. A knowledge of French also opened the doors of high paying language jobs in several French companies like L'Oreal, Lacoste, Atari, BIC, AXA, BNB Paribas, Orange, Airbus, Alstom, Alcatel, and counting. Many international organizations and agencies use French as an official language. For example, the European Union, that is EU, WHO, UNESCO, NATO, IRC, ISD, and many more. Okay, so now I have a question for all of you. What do people want out of their professional life? A lucrative job, a fancy package, or maybe a lavish lifestyle? Well, just by learning French, you will become eligible for all these aspects. I am saying this because as a French speaker, you can work for embassies and the government as interpreters, translators, delegates, etc. Yes, you can even work as a freelancer. Now, like if I talk about freelancing, this gives you a major benefit. That is, you can work with different companies, which in turn provides experiences from different sectors and fields at the same time. Like if I talk about myself, I am a freelancer, so I am working with the university. At the same time, I'm working with school and with one of the organization as well. So in the specific time period, I am able to get the knowledge and the experience from different sectors. You can also work with KPO, BPO, and MNC. Let's talk about MNCs first. The big fours. You all must be knowing the big fours. So the basic salary package for a job of an auditor is 5.5 LPA, like for a fresher. But just by adding French to your CV, you get to work for the same position or designation, but for the salary package of 8 lakh, 8 LPA. Can you see the difference of 2.5 lakh? That is huge. I am telling you this because I want you to understand a very straightforward thing, that if you would be investing few months in this language, you actually are saving 1 to 2 years of hard work working as a monolingual for the MNCs in order to get this kind of hike in your package. Because whenever you will be starting a job as a fresher, so you will be getting a package of 5 or 6 lakh, but you have one additional language, then definitely during your fresher time only you will be getting a package of 8 to 9 lakh. So you do not have to just wait 2 to 3 years just to have that kind of package. And nonetheless, everyone deserves their long desired an evening in Paris, so you can utilize those 2 to 3 years instead of wasting over there to just go and have a good trip to France. Okay, so now as I'm talking about the beauty, let's have a virtual tour to France for free. There is a reason why French has been called the language of love for decades, maybe longer. We all are connected to France through the fashion industry, latest fashion trends, popular fragrances, food, movies, romance, and whatnot. Like if I see this picture that even you can see on the screen, so whenever I see this picture, the very first thing that comes in my mind is France. Because France is the only country that is famous for the fashion, boots, perfumes, movies, food, romance, and whatnot. As I'm telling you about all this, so yeah, how can I forget about the brands? Okay, so let me talk to girls first. What exactly do we like? Clothes of niche brands, bags, of course. I especially am fond of bags of different luxurious brands like Louis Vuitton, Dior, Coach. And yeah, what about you boys? You all love to smell good? You all love to put on popular branded perfumes like fragrances of like Givenchy, Chanel, Dior, Paco Rabanne. These all are the French brands. So we all just have a dream of having something luxurious, and the all the luxury brands are basically of France. Most of the brands. Okay, so after listening to all this, you all can also see that we all are already connected to France in some or the other way, knowingly or unknowingly. Maybe because of its language or because of its brand or culture, but we all are already connected to France. Now, let's discuss about what France is famous for. The first thing is Eiffel Tower. When you think about France, the very first thing that comes to your mind is, of course, the Eiffel Tower, as it is one of the most iconic French things. And I have heard that around 7 million visitors per year, there are 7 million visitors every year that visit there. So, absolutely no one misses it when they travel to France, and that's why it has become one of the most visited monuments in the world. Second is Notre Dame Cathedral. It's a church. So it's a medieval Catholic cathedral that represents perfectly the French Gothic architecture, and it is no doubt second most visited attraction in Paris and probably in France. It is very beautiful. Third thing is French football national team. So the football in France is the most common sport, and many kids play it every day, just like we. Like in India, you will see in every gully people playing cricket. So in the same way, they play football. And I have heard that the national French team was the last one winning the World Cup in 2018, and they also won in 1998. So with two titles, they have become one of the best national football teams in the world. And the PSG is the very famous team from Paris, that is of France. Tour de France. So another sport French people are good at is cycling. Tour de France is the biggest cycling tournament and is celebrated every year during the summer months. In this, it is a race of many cyclers who compete during the time period of 23 days, and they cover 3,500 kilometers of the whole country. And this is actually an event, but they celebrate it as a festival. It is one of the major festival of that country. Okay, so now Paris Fashion Week. It is true that there are many events related to fashion and more in France, but the best one, without any doubt, is the Fashion Week. The Fashion Week is celebrated in four different cities over there. It starts in New York, then London, then Milan, and it finishes in Paris. That's why it is known as Paris Fashion Week. So it is celebrated two times a year, and each and every designer present their best collection over there. Wine and cheese. Believe it or not, many French people normally have a glass of wine to accompany each of their lunches. And yes, cheese and baguettes. Baguette basically is a long French bread. So these are the two part of their daily life. It is more like a cultural thing, and they do not normally drink to get drunk like most of the Indians. Sorry to say, but it's true. But a curious fact is that French people are actually allowed to drive after drinking a one glass of wine. Crazy. Okay, so it's a fun fact. There are more than 500 varieties of French cheese, and like French people, whenever you will see French people, they will be talking about cheese like every time. Even if it's breakfast, even we are talking about lunch or dinner, they have cheese every time, every single day. Okay, so I believe most of you are from Noida, Delhi, or maybe Gurgaon. So how can we just not talk about cafe food? We all are just crazy for cafes. So you all must have heard about Theos, Theobrahma, Lopera, or maybe Big Chill. So over there, we just have this thing that let's just go and try these interesting things like macarons, crepe, patisserie, that is pastry, coffee, croissant. These all actually are French food. Music. Although France is a big country with a lot of musicians and many different styles, the French music is best known for its classical music. You must have heard of the names Claude Debussy, Maurice Ravel, Gabriel Fauré. These are some of the best classical music composers in the history of France. And yeah, nowadays this is starting to change, and other music genres are starting to show up like hip hop, electronic music, pop. And David Guetta is an international DJ who is known for being probably the most famous musician in France nowadays. Okay, so Cannes Film Festival. It is a film event founded in 1946 where many celebrities from the film industry get together and preview the new films of the time. Over here, like many best actor and actresses come from their countries and represent their country over here, and over here they get one award, the best film award, and the name of that award is the Palme d'Or. So from India also, like many of the Indian personalities have been a part of it, like Aishwarya Rai, Kangana Ranaut, Deepika Padukone, Priyanka Chopra, and many more. Last but not the least, Disneyland. Other of the most famous French things is Disneyland Paris. There are 6 Disneyland castles in the world, like it's in California, Tokyo, Florida, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Paris. So if anyone from Europe wants to visit Disneyland, the closest option to them is France. Okay, now let's talk about why French. We have we have already discussed like why we should learn a language, why like then we have also seen the beautiful things of France. So now let's talk about like why French, why not any other language. So the very first thing is it is very easy to learn and understand. Like more than 50% of the words in French are similar to English. Now if you see the screen, I have written few words like presentation, education, addition, passion, mission, information, creative, table. Now you all must be wondering like in this French webinar why ma'am is writing these words like the English words. But if I say that no, I have written these words in French, will you agree? Yes, these words are written in French. There are more than 50% of the words that are same in English as well as in French with the meaning too. We write in French also presentation as presentation only, the same spelling. The only thing that is different is the pronunciation. So presentation we pronounce as présentation, education becomes éducation, édition, passion, mission, information, creative, tableau. Okay, so there are many words that are almost same, only little bit of spelling is different. But after that also, when you will look at that word, you will be able to find out what exactly this word must be in English. Like now on the screen you can see I have written in English as well as in French. Coffee becomes café, liberty becomes liberté, tea becomes thé, music, musique, quality becomes qualité. So I have written in English also, but if I remove the English words, then also I'm damn sure you will be able to recognize these words and with the meanings. So we write French just like the way we write English that I've already told you. So let's talk about alphabet. In English, we write alphabet as A, B, C, D till Z or Z, whatever you call it. So in French also we write these letters in the same way. A in French is A only, B is B only until Z. Each and every letter is same. Again the pronunciation is different. In English we say A, B, C, D, E. In French it becomes A, B, C, D, A, E. So most of the French language is exactly the same as English. By this I mean to say that not only the spellings but even the meaning. Okay, so let's see one thing. Here we have the word Indian written in 5 different languages: German, Chinese, that is Mandarin, Japanese, Dutch, and French. Give it a look and see which version of the word Indian is the most easy to understand. Like, let's just not even talk about Chinese and Japanese over here. They have used some different features or characters. Even I'm not able to understand it. Let's just see German, Dutch, and French. I guess the closest one is French. Even you can see it. In German, it's written in Dish. I don't know the pronunciation. But by looking at the French word, we can easily recognize that it is written Indian. So now after this also you can see that which language is the easiest one to learn or to understand. So at some point of learning anything new, we all wonder that whether we'll be able to do it or not, whether we have chosen a correct thing or not. So to lift up your spirits in that case, I would like to share with you a web series that is available on Netflix. That is Emily in Paris. So it's a story of a girl who gets a chance of going to France without even having a slightest knowledge about the language. She still decides to go there. So initially she come across many challenges in carrying, but pretty soon she catches up with the language pretty well. She gets so much better there that she later extend her staycation, like her stay in the country. So the motive behind sharing this with you is only to make you realize that if a girl with zero knowledge of a language can lead a life there, become a fluent speaker, then you can too. Trust me, any task becomes a piece of cake if you have a time and right mentoring for it. Now, as we are heading closer to the end of this webinar, I would like to tell you guys a fun fact. Actually, I don't want to tell, I want to ask all of you. You must have seen the शादी का card, सबके घर में आता है. So in that card you must have seen that this word is written at the bottom towards the right or maybe towards the left, RSVP. And in the cards you will see that below this either people write their names or maybe they just write the phone number. So have you ever wondered what does it mean? What is the meaning of this word RSVP? Think about it. It means Répondez s'il vous plaît. That means respond please. So we usually write this word on the marriage cards or any card because if any person is not able to find the venue or if any person is facing any kind of confusion, so he can just contact you on that number. So always after RSVP, like at the bottom of below the RSVP, you should always write a phone number so that that person can contact you if he or she is having some trouble to find out the venue or any other confusion. Okay, so that is the end, but I would like to tell you one thing, that in this course we'll be learning many different things. We'll be learning how to speak properly with the proper accents, about the culture, about the pronunciation, accent modulation, and after this course you will be eligible to give the DELF exam, that is the International French exam. And you'll not only be eligible to give the DELF exam, but also you will be able to work with the good companies in India. So that's all from my side. I hope this webinar was informative for all of you. And if you have any sort of doubt, now would be the perfect time to ask.
Yes, participants, if you have any questions related to the program, please ask.
Yes, sir, I have a question for ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening.
Ma'am, how we are going to learn the language? I mean to say that what will be the curriculum for that?
Okay, so basically we will be covering up, like in French you must be knowing that there are different levels, A1, A2, B1, B2, C1. So in this course we will
Yes,
be
ma'am.
covering up A1 and A2. So according, like by that I mean we will be, of course, I cannot say that you will be like perfect or you will be pro in French and you will be able to speak in just 2 months.